The growl came first. Deep, protective, fierce. In the heart of a quiet town where people knew each other's names and children played safely in the park, a sudden scene of chaos unfolded on the cobblestone sidewalk of Main Street. Passers-by froze. Mid-step. Conversations halted. Coffee cups stopped midway to lips. What everyone witnessed next would leave the entire town speechless. It all began with a little girl named Emily, a bright and curious 9-year-old bound to a wheelchair. Born with a rare spinal condition, she couldn't walk, but that never dulled her spirit. Her days were filled with books, sketching, and, most importantly, her loyal German shepherd, Shadow. Shadow wasn't just a dog. He was her guardian, her legs, her best friend. A rescue himself, Shadow had survived a rough life on the streets before Emily's family adopted him. Perhaps that's why their bond was unlike anything anyone had seen. Two souls healed by each other's presence. On that sunny afternoon, Emily and Shadow were enjoying a rare outing to the town cafe with her Uncle Jack. As they sat near the outdoor tables, Emily giggled as Shadow playfully pawed at a napkin fluttering in the breeze. The air was filled with joy and the scent of fresh coffee. But the peace didn't last long. From down the street, a group of bikers roared toward them. Loud engines, leather jackets, sunglasses, and tattoos. Most were harmless, regulars of the town. But one man stood out. Vince. Towering, intimidating, covered in ink from his bald head to his fists. He was new in town, and trouble followed him like a shadow. Vince had been thrown out of the cafe the week before for harassing a waitress. Locals whispered he was hiding from something, or someone. No one knew for sure. That day, Vince walked past the tables, glanced at Emily in her wheelchair, then paused. "She shouldn't be here," he muttered, staring at her like she didn't belong. Uncle Jack stood up. "Keep walking, man." But Vince didn't. Something in him snapped. Maybe it was ego. Maybe it was whatever demons he was fighting. But without warning, he lunged, grabbing the handles of Emily's wheelchair. She screamed. The chair jerked back. Shadow barked, a loud, sharp warning. People gasped. A few reached for their phones. Others shouted. But it was too late. Vince raised his hand, ready to shove, to scare, to intimidate. That's when Shadow leapt. Not just a bark, not just a growl, a blur of fur, muscle, and fury. He lunged at Vince, knocking him backward so violently that the biker stumbled, crashing into an empty table. Coffee cups shattered. Vince hit the pavement, hard. And then Shadow stood, right over Emily, snarling with a ferocity that none had seen before. His teeth bared, his eyes locked on Vince, a silent promise. "You will not touch her." The crowd was silent. Vince groaned, holding his side. The biker beside him tried to help him up, but Shadow barked again, loud and commanding. They backed off. Within minutes, police arrived. Someone had called them during the altercation. Witnesses pointed. Stories were shared. Vince was arrested on the spot for assault and intimidation. But what stole the headlines that evening wasn't the arrest. It was the dog. Hero, dog saves girl in wheelchair from biker attack. Shadow the Savior. How one loyal dog protected his best friend. In the days that followed, the town couldn't stop talking. The mayor visited Emily to personally thank her and Shadow. A local artist painted a mural of them on the side of the cafe wall. Even animal rights groups reached out to celebrate Shadow's loyalty and courage. But for Emily, the most touching moment came when she whispered to Shadow that night, curled up next to him on the bed. "You didn't just save me. You believed in me." She had always been told she was fragile, helpless, but in that moment, with Shadow defending her, she realized she wasn't weak. She was protected, empowered, loved. Emily's physical limitations had always made her vulnerable to judgment. Strangers often saw her chair before they saw her. The sudden act of aggression from Vince shattered her sense of public safety. But Shadow's protective instincts not only saved her physically, they restored her confidence and faith in the world. Shadow, too, had once been discarded, abandoned on the side of the highway. But with love, patience, and training, he had become a service dog, and, more importantly, family. His loyalty was born not from obedience but from a bond forged through shared pain and healing. The cafe now has a plaque on the wall. To Shadow, the hero who showed us all what loyalty means. Emily continues to go on adventures with Shadow by her side. Together they visit schools, teaching children about kindness, inclusion, and the powerful bond between humans and dogs. And Vince? He never returned. The law made sure of that. But even if he did, the town knew. He wouldn't get past Shadow. Tell us what you felt watching this story. Have you ever witnessed such loyalty from a dog? Share your thoughts in the comments. Like, share, and subscribe to Pawsitive Tales for more real-life stories that will melt your heart and remind you just how amazing dogs truly are. Because here, every bark tells a story.